Alright, welcome back to some quality content. So about 2 weeks ago I took the cruiser down to ARB to get a few things buttoned up. So the main one was the rear main was leaking, and then the other one that's been doing it for years too is cruiser used to fall out of second and reverse ever since I did the body lift. So I probably shouldn't have been driving the cruiser with a rear main leak for 3 years. Probably not good for the clutch if the oil got onto it, but it's what happens. But when they pulled the gearbox out, they actually found out that the rear main was only weeping a little bit. The main leak was actually from the head gasket. It was running down the back. So we'll go outside and take a look at what they did. Welcome back to another video. Alright, so we'll go ahead and get the bonnet open. Alright, so basically under here, all we've had done is not much, cylinder head gasket, cylinder head, it's a new one. Timing belt was done, water pump was done, rear main was done. I think that's about it. Now I have noticed that this head, because it's off a 105, it seems to have given it more power. I don't know if that's because the last one was almost bugging, but this one seems to, you can almost be sitting at idle, about 800 revs, 700 revs, put the foot down, it'll climb, easy. The other one, you'll have to drop it down a gear, there's no chance in hell you're going to get back up into the good rev range. So yeah, cylinder head's been done, it's running really good. I might need to change the fuel pump because it's getting a bit sad. But other than that, it's pretty much ready for a turbo. Alright, so we'll get this all closed up and we'll go for a bit of a drive, check out the 0 to 100, and there's a bloody skyline in the way. I'm gonna have to try and figure out another way to get out of the house. Go around the house, but I've got to get under that line over there. I don't have the keys to the skyline, so I can't move it. But yeah, we'll get out of here and we'll take it for a bit of a drive, and I'll show you 0 to 100, see how that goes. It's pretty slow. Alright, so you've got to try and get under that line there. And if you look closely, a little bit of tape, that's my roof. And there's the line. I reckon we get out, lift it up. Might have to turn it off first. Alright. Shed off. Beautiful. Alright, are we gonna make it? I probably should have moved the camera out of the way. Plenty of room. Alright, so here we are, we've got a nice big straight, and I've gone and set up the GoPro. I'm pretty sure that's how everyone does it. You just go around the whole steering column with the 100-mile-an-hour tape. So we've got it set up. We're just going to take off, get it up to 110, and then we're going to slow down pretty much as quick as possible and pull over to show you the braking as well. And then in a couple of weeks, when we get the turbo all hooked up, we'll do this again. Alright, so here we are out at the BP Hill. I've done a video on this in the past.
In the lines underneath your bed sheets, it started fun, but now I'm in too deep into this flow. A zero-sum game that I will lose. There's no zipping past it. Every time you walk away from me, I want you. How could I want you more? Or when did I lose my perspective? Oh, God.
Plenty of good tracks out here. It's 5 minutes out of Kalgoorlie itself. So as you can see, it is quite slow. It takes a long time to get to 110. It's actually pretty quick to 60 k's an hour, which is pretty good for driving around town. Getting out on the highway, you do get overtaken a few times. It does take ages to go from 60 to 110. But I got the turbo coming, so that should fix that. It was faster before I had 35s, and when I first put the 35s on, it was actually, get out of the sun here, it was actually really horrible because I didn't have the gear reductions. So all it would do on the gauge is 90 flat out all the way, 90 k's an hour, and that translated to, I think it was 109 k's an hour. So the speedo was a lot out. And then I did the nitro gear diff reductions, diff ratios, so crown and pinion, and I went from a 411 ratio, which is your factory Land Cruiser. I think it's, I can't even remember now, might be 4.9, no, whatever it is, but I changed the ratios. I did a video, I've spoken about it a few times now, I just can't remember the exact number. It's basically the only crown and pinion they sell on Superior Engineering for this. That ratio is what these are. So anyway, now that we're out at the BP Hill, we can get up on the unofficial, where's my hand going? Unofficial Kalgoorlie flex ramp. This is where I always come to test out flex. If you want a more gnarly flex ramp, there's some bigger ones around here, just like this one here. This one's pretty radical. But yeah, we'll go up on it, and I'll show you a few of the other mods that I've done in the last couple of months. Gonna hold? No handbrake. All right. Alright, so starting off at the front here, got some Superior Engineering ComSpec bars, fully solid. The reason I changed them is because a lot of people don't know, when you get bigger tyres with the Land Cruiser steering, and you're trying to climb up some obstacles and that, it'll actually flex the steering arm, and you'll feel it in the steering. You'll be trying to climb up some rocks like here, and you'll feel you'll just feel the wheel going up, and then it trying to be pushed back, and what happens is the bar will actually bend a little bit, and it'll feel real funny in the steering. And another thing that happened was I kept going through tired ends and drag links, and so what I did was, when I went to these, I really took the time to look at it on the internet to see which ones would be the go, and I went for the Superior, like always, because they make some quality stuff. But their tired ends are actually they're not standard Land Cruiser ones. They look the same, but apparently the ball inside's different. And I did notice, because I've got a couple spares, that brand new versus brand new, you can feel the difference in the Superior compared to the Land Cruiser one. The Land Cruiser one has got a lot more give, and these, you can't move them. You have to bash with a hammer to get that tired end to move, like get that little ball inside to move. And I put it on, it makes a whole lot of difference going down the road. It feels like brand new steering. It's really firm, really rock solid. Then the next mod I've done is I went for a set of bump stops. I've never had bump stops in this. I removed the airbags in the back, so there was nothing between the rear leaf and the chassis. But being a leaf, you're never going to get a leaf to go from like a bow shape to completely flat and come up and hit the chassis. It's just not going to happen. But it still makes the ride a lot rougher, just in my opinion, when there's nothing to cushion the leaf spring on the up travel, and you're relying completely on the shock to absorb all that. So when it comes to bump stops for 75 series, there is none. Unless someone else just can find some, because I couldn't. I looked everywhere. So I just went on eBay and got some Nissan Patrol bump stops. These are for a GQ GU, and I got my mate Joel to stitch them on there. And we cut all the brackets up to make them fit a bit nicer, as you can see. Yes, that's about it. That's the two latest mods I've done so far. The engine's not really mod, it's just really maintenance, just to keep it living another 4 million kilometers. So what I'll do is I'll go and attach the GoPro, and we'll go hit the tracks a little bit so you can see the bump stops in action. Alright. Right, so as you probably just seen in that little GoPro video there, the bump stops are working pretty much all the time. There's not much clearance, as you can see. I don't know much about bump stops. I'm pretty sure they're meant to be making contact pretty fairly on, and then like as the diff comes up, it really slows it down before it wrecks the shock. My shock is on the long side, so I don't think it's gonna bottom out my up travel. I will bottom out my down travel, but I think the leaf spring catches it just before the shock takes it. I don't know. We'll find out when and if the shock pulls its guts out. If it's hard to see in the video, just looking back on the GoPro, it might be hard. The bump stop is right next to the shock to the left. Yeah, it's not the best GoPro footage I've ever done. That's the only mount that I have on the Cruiser, other than the one on the back, and I can't move it, and I don't have any more, so that's what you get. Alright, that's it for this one. Thanks for watching. Head over to Instagram. I've got an Instagram page there, official not stock. I'll put the thing up on the screen. If you want to send in your 4-wheel drives, I'll put them up in this little highlight thing that Instagram's been doing for a long time, that I only just started doing. Send us a photo, tag us in a photo, and we'll go and put it in that little section there in the fans rigs. And if you want to buy merch, you can always just message the Facebook page. I'll sort you out there. I'll figure it out. The website's down at the moment, building another one, so it should be good when that comes up. That's it for this one. See you next time.